Jim was a super successful coach here, and he now runs the character development program, which he's going to just talk about, and we hope you'll kind of apply this within your own team. Jim,
great, John, thanks. Hey, thanks, guys, for signing up to coach. I'm jealous. It's a lot of fun. You guys have a great opportunity to impact some young men through the game of football. A little bit more about our program. The purpose of it is to support you guys in your efforts to teach your players all the life lessons that come from this great game of football. And my opinion is there's not a better team sport which lends itself to these life lessons. So my job is to support you in those efforts, and we're going to do it really in three ways. One is we've got a big opening day event. I don't know if any of you all have experienced that or not, but September 9th will be the official opening day of the football season, and we're going to have Chris Burnett, former All-SEC guard for Georgia, come give a talk, and he's going to talk on those life lessons, you know, teamwork, sportsmanship, effort, those kind of things that come along with this game. During the season, I'm going to send out some emails to both coaches and parents that'll have a little story or a little commentary on one of those life lessons. And then during the season, on Sunday afternoons, we're going to have some local high school players come out and talk to teams. Now, it's my responsibility to line all that up, but it's going to be y'all's responsibility to say, yes, you can come talk to our team, okay? And be willing to give up 10 or 15 minutes of practice time so your players can hear a lesson, a talk from these local high school players. I can tell you they love it. The players love it. They're riveted on these kids. So just to add something to your team and to experience of these kids. I'm going to send out an email that's got my contact information. Please feel free to reach out to me at any point in time. There's some little things that we did when I was coaching that I'm happy to share. Also, there's two great books that I always reference. One is Our Boys, and I'll put this in the email. It's about a high school football team in Kansas and a guy that coached this team for over 30 years and some of the things he did with his kids. And then Season of Life, which is about Joe Ehrman. I don't know if you've read that, but he was an NFL player who coaches a high school team in Baltimore. And some of the things he does with his team that you can learn and even use in coaching your guys. So, any questions? All right, good luck this season. Thanks again for being out here. I look forward to seeing you.
All right, thanks, Jim.
Thanks, guys. See you.
My name's Pete Secret. How many of you guys first-time coaches? Raise your hand. Great. Thank you all for coming, because the idea of this that John Baker put together is to help the first year, the second year, the third year guys get ready for NYO football, because it is literally it's very intense. And we always say, everybody says that winning doesn't matter. So that's the first mantra. But everybody wants to win. You want to have a competitive team, or the parents start really getting all over you. So the whole idea of this clinic is to help you guys from A to Z, from the draft to dealing with the parents to fundamental football, everything across the board, because there's a lot that you have to do. It's not just like coming out and saying, I'm going to coach a football team and having a couple plays. There's a lot to it. And we would all probably tell everybody that's coached, the most important thing is the draft. Because if you draft, if you put the time into the draft, it makes your season very rewarding, picking the right kids, the right families, and having a competitive team. If you don't draft well, it's going to be a very difficult, very tough season. So we're going to try to give you a lot of tips and things on the draft and everything else. Just a little background on myself. I'm from Florida. I played college baseball. I played a little bit of football, and I played all the way through high school, but I wasn't a fundamental football guy like these two behind you who played college football. I came out with my son 11 years ago and really didn't know anything more than what I learned in high school. So the first thing I did is I went online and I started Googling how to coach football. And these guys, the senior guys out here, they always laugh at me because for years everybody joked, that I learned everything online, and it was a big joke. But what I basically did is
we were laughing, so we're sure he was looking at football.
Yeah, exactly. What I did is I went and I got a bunch of football books and started reading, what was the best offense and how to learn and how to do it. My first 6 years, one regular season loss. So all the guys that were NFL players and played D1 football, like these two behind me, my one regular season loss was to this guy. And it was on an illegal play. He had his end right here. The center was here and the end he wasn't eligible. So he rolled a kid out that way and threw back to the end on the backside. And that's how we lost our first game in 6 years. So somebody that knows nothing about football. So what I'll tell you is, this is serious. Like, you have to get organized. So the first thing, and I'm going to pass this around as you guys are up there, you can kind of look through it. There are so many rules and so many regulations. So what I do is I put my team names, I put the parents, you got to have the parents' cell numbers. I put all the rules that John has. I think there's 40 or 50 pages of rules. I put my plays, my draft, everything in one spot. Make it real easy for yourself. So I'll start passing that around. But we're going to talk about the draft now. Coach Pledger, who's one of the best coaches out here, why don't we just, both you guys, we'll just jump in and talk about getting ready for the draft. How many of you are already starting to look at the draft? Okay, not enough hands. Right now what you should be doing is you should be pulling out your draft list, and anybody that you know that coached the year prior, you should be talking to people and starting to figure out who the best players are, and who the players you want to stay away from. So why don't we talk about the tryouts. We'll start with Pledge. What do you do in the tryouts? How do you rank the tryouts?
Well, the tryouts going to happen fast, so they're going to run a 40, which you won't see, but then they're going to do an agility thing, and then they do a hitting. So you have 2 seconds to kind of look at this and just to write down something. If it's a tall kid, a big kid, a thick kid, a small kid, a short kid, and then I only do like 0 through 3. And 3 being the best. Some people do a scale 1 to 10. It's whatever you and your coaches want to go with in the system. And I just kind of, each kid, we mark down, whatever. If he's a top player, well, I'm going to have a 3 for hitting and a 3 for agility. So, and at that point too, I'm also trying to do the eye testing on lineman, back, corner, potential, just all types of stuff. So I'm already looking at that, and luckily in the bigs and in the littles, they film the tryouts, so you can actually go back, re-watch it, and look at your notes and what you see, because it really happens fast. I mean, it's pretty. You don't have enough time to write down because you have 100-something kids coming through.
To that point, Charles, tell them what you bring. You bring something like this?
Yeah, they will send out a list. John, the commissioners will send out and have the kid's tryout number, the name, and then it'll have blank where it has the hitting and agility and the comments. So I just print that out, have a clipboard with a pen, and it's kind of something like this. And that's kind of the start of your tryout and getting prepared for the draft. But just don't bring a computer out there. Just turn off the sheet and you can do everything, just handwriting. And then I recommend this is that right after the tryouts, you and your coach just go sit down and you go over every single one of them and try to get on the same page.
So let me emphasize a couple of things. I do the same thing. I have it 1 through 5 though, and you go through and you put 1, 4, 5. All the coaches go after it and come up with, because everybody might have seen something different, and then you'll average that score. So if one coach had a 5, 4, 3, you'll say, okay, that kid's a 4. It's really important to have a couple eyes at the tryouts. Then once I go through all that, just like Pledger said, I'll go through and watch the video and literally go back through every single player. And you'll look and say, okay, confirmed for running back, could be, linebacker, and that's what we're starting to look through. So what else do you do differently? Anything?
Well, I think the big thing is, whatever your scale is, your tendency will be to go to the middle on a lot of kids, and you've got to try and group them somewhere besides the middle. Because you'll get to the draft and go, I pick your 1 through 10. I got a lot of 5s and 6s. That's great. You got to really know who those 5s are really 7s and which 5s are really 3s. That's where I use the video. I look at those middle kids and say, hey, and I'm really looking at, are they coachable? So did they listen to the coaches? Did they watch the kids in front of them? And are they afraid to hit or not?
To me, that's the number one thing I look for. How aggressive are they? Are they timid? Are they coming in like this, turning their shoulder? Or are they running through people? Are they tackling? Are they coming at people? So I rank, one of my rankings is how aggressive or will they hit, 1 through 5. And if they're a 5, they're a hitter. If they're a 1, I also, this is really important, we forgot, I put also a DB. So a DB is somebody don't draft. Maybe they're too timid. Somebody's going to end up with the player, but I put my DBs, and then when I do my ranking, I'm sending around my ranking sheets. We'll explain that in just a second. But we'll look for DBs because it's really important to find the kids that you want to put at the bottom of the draft, so you don't take them too early.
What is the game drill?
So
It's usually just a tackling drill.
Just a tackling drill.
I'm going to stand here, Charles is going to stand there, and we're going to tackle each other.
Straight ahead.
You got to try and factor in the new kids because they don't know what they're doing, right? So a kid might just come running in here like this, but at least he's running that way to try and hit somebody, right? So you got to factor that. It'll look horrible, but like to Pete's point, that kid's probably aggressive, and we can coach that kid to be a good tackler, as opposed to the kid who's going to do this. And you'll see him, and he's backing up as soon as that drill starts.
how do you know if they're a new kid? White helmet. They don't have decals yet. So you want to look, and by the way, some of my best picks ever were white helmets.
Sure.
So that's the secret too. If you can find a white helmet that you know is athletic, that's going to hit somebody, that could win you 5 games. One kid.
One thing too, after the tryouts, you got to have a game plan. And when I say game plan, you need to know how many right now. Raise your hand if you do not know what offense you're going to run or what defense you're going to run. I mean, there's some hands.
Yeah,
You're already to prepare for the tryouts. You're also having to, for this draft, these kids got to play certain positions. So you're going to have what your offense and defense, and that's how you put the rankings of these kids together too.
First 3 or 4 picks are your most important. What I generally do with the first couple kids, if I know where I'm picking, I will talk to either somebody that coached them in baseball, basketball, somebody that knows the kid. If you're taking your first or second pick, it's really important. So you better not just say, I'm going to take this kid because he looked good in the tryout. I want to know he played Buckhead baseball, he was an A All-Star. I would go online, look at, are they NYO All-Stars? How are they in basketball? It's really important those first 3 picks makes or breaks your whole draft. So you better know who those kids are.
And the guys that raise your hand, you need to do what Pete did. Google offense, youth football offense. I'm sorry, you got to come up with something. You need to have a game plan starting now.
Oh, absolutely.
If
right
you don't
now,
have it, you're already behind everybody else because you're going to need to know what you're going to run. Because I know some of the leagues are 8-man football, some of it's 11-man. So you need to Google, if you're 8-man football, Google 8-man football and figure out some of the plays there. But you need to have that going in, what you're going to run.
so we're going to switch over now. Okay, so now the tryout's over. Now you're getting prepared for the draft. The spreadsheet that I just sent around, I'm a big believer in an Excel spreadsheet. I literally rank the kids 1 through 150. If there's 150 kids in your league, I'll rank them 1 to right down the list. I'll have one spreadsheet for the fastest kids. So I'll sort it by speed. So one coach sits next to me and we're looking for pure speed. Because one thing he can't teach, Pledger can teach speed. He's the only guy at the park that can teach speed. That's an inside joke. The old coaches are laughing. So one spreadsheet is going to be ranked 1 through 150. The other spreadsheet will be speed. And as we're going through the draft, we're scratching out the names. So when we come to and it's fast, so you got to be really ready with a spreadsheet. So one coach will say, okay, the next fastest kid is Jimmy, and I'll look at my list and we'll talk about those 2 kids. Do we want to take the next fastest kid, or do we want to take the ranking? And we'll look at that. Usually you can't go wrong if you're looking for speed. If you get nervous, speed is always more important than everything else. Anything on that?
No, I mean, but falls back into preparing for that draft, and it's going to happen. I mean, you get in that room, it happens fast. I mean, so Pete and I do the same thing. I don't rank kids 1 through 50. I'm breaking them into what I'm looking for. And when I say this, I have my offense and my defense. So I know so if we have 15 players, I know that the first 7 kids are going to play. The 7 kids are going to play both ways. They're not coming off the field. So I know if I'm picking the 4th kid, where is he going to play on defense? So I'm trying to match that up. So I'm having a game plan going into it. So I'm kind of, I don't rank them. I rank them by position.
That's what I do. I take running backs, boom. Quarterbacks, aren't necessarily running backs, but probably can run the ball. Tight ends, because I think tight ends is one of the, as you get older, I think it's one of the key spots.
Didn't you play tight end in college?
No, I played wide receiver. I look like a fat ass. I played wide receiver. But I just think because it's so key on offense to block, how I run offense, right? My tight end is vitally important. So I rank tight ends, I rank offensive linemen, I rank linebackers, and I rank defensive linemen. And that's how I do it.
But guys, this is why it's so important. You have to know what offense you're going to run right now and what defense you're going to run. I'm totally different. My second pick is always the baddest linebacker in the league, and I'm pulling guard. I want a kid over the weight limit, and I want the best defensive player, and he pulls for me. So I run a pulling offense where that pulling guard is going to lead you to most plays, but that's what I look for. They look for something different. I don't care about tight ends, right? So
like Charles and I, we've drafted against each other for a while. He's taking smaller, faster kids. He has 4 kids in the backfield. They all kind of look alike. You can't tell the difference. And they're all going this way all the time, right? I'm pretty predictable.
Yeah, I've never drafted a lineman before the 4th round. But it doesn't. And the reason why, because it's for my offense. My offense needs that guy in the 2nd round. My offense doesn't need that. So it's what I'm getting to. You got to have what you're going to run and prepare the draft with. If you walk into the draft room just to draft a team and figure out day 1 what you're going to run, you're going to have a losing season.
See, our philosophy is a little different. We want to have the best defense. So we're thinking every pick, we're thinking defense, defense, defense. We're trying to, give up the least amount of points for the season, and we're going to run a power offense. So we're going to run off tackle, and they know it's coming. So 70% of our runs, we're pounding the ball off tackle through the 6 hole. We'll break a few out, 8, and we'll do a few passes and things like that. We'll talk about it. But it's just different styles. He's going with 4 fast backs, and he's trying to score a lot of points. And they have a good defense too. So very important. So now, you got the spreadsheet. Right now, you should be, when you get home tonight, you should take your spreadsheet, take the list that you have of all your kids, and start creating your spreadsheet. You'll know some of the kids, put in notes. Like this kid, know the family, dad's an NFL player, dad played in college, things like that. And you'll start building your notes and building your spreadsheet. Then when you go to the tryouts, you'll take your list of the tryout rankings, then you'll take those rankings and you'll put them in for each kid, and you'll have an average ranking. So now you have the spreadsheet, you have the ranking, then they'll go and you'll get the speed and the weight, so important. And then you'll put the speed and the weight into the spreadsheet. And now your spreadsheet's starting to come together. And this whole time you're looking at it and you're ranking them 1 through 150 based on everything you know now. And then right before the draft, watch the video again. Make sure the 1st, 2nd, 3rd pick that you take, make sure that that's the kid you really want, do your homework on it. We can't overemphasize how important the draft and the tryouts and all this stuff is. If you get a bad team, if you do a poor job and you don't put the work in, it's going to be a very long season. So, very important.
That weight, know the rules of your league, right? Certain weights, you can only be in certain positions, right? So if you're in the bigs, over 115, you cannot run the ball. So if you take a kid and he's 116 and you think, oh, they're going to let him lose a pound. They're not going to let him lose a pound. He can't run the ball the entire year. He is not going to be a running back.
That's a great point. How many of you have read the rules? Great. Reread them and reread them and reread them, and that's the most important thing, knowing the weights. Because if you draft some kid, you think he's going to be your tailback and he's overweight, you're already behind the 8 ball.
Yes. So is that weight at tryouts?
Weight at tryout.
Okay.
And then later in the season, they have the ability to weigh the kid in again. They give him, he can gain some weight. So we have kids who will lose 5 to 10 pounds to make running back.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really the intent, right? Because it's a safety rule. If they gain a bunch of weight during the season, there can be a tryout late in the year.
Okay.
And if they're too heavy, then they could be excluded.
So
We
let's-
haven't had that.
It's never happened.
There've been reways, but
So
never.
some of my best
Real
picks.
quick too, guys, I
Yeah, go
know,
ahead.
when you're in that draft, we're seeing more and more guys coming in with your laptops, your iPads, and I still think print out your sheet of paper. Do not bring the laptop into
And then just cross them out.
and just cross it out. Too many problems happen with the computers and people. You're sitting there going up down the stream. You're slowing up the draft. You know, I take pride in literally when it's my turn trying to
Fast.
literally get 2
Yep.
seconds to draft a kid. And everybody who's on the computer is they're just going through the screen where I'm just sitting there with a highlighter. So 10001 was picked. I just go right through the, on my spreadsheet and mark it off. And so that way you have something where you can mark when a kid is drafted, you want to mark through it because there's nothing worse when we get to the 12th, 13th round and we've waited on you, you're slow, and all of a sudden I want 10002, and be like, yeah, he was drafted 5 rounds ago. Okay, then you got to start over. So you want to come in a little bit more prepared with something like that where it's, you can hold that up right there. Just hold it up very much. And that way you have even if it's a Sharpie, you just mark through who just got drafted. Okay? Because if you're on your computer, how are you marking through it? Not. It's in your computer. So if you can have a sheet of paper where you go like this, and that way you know which kids were already been drafted, I think helps.
Absolutely.
And what happens if we're in Atlanta, what happens if we're in the middle of that draft and the power goes out, what are you going to do? We're not stopping the draft.
Draft.
Sorry, first year here. So the spreadsheet you keep talking about, is that something sorry you can share with the head coaches?
No.
No, I just basically take the list of kids. You, okay, have they got the
Not-
list?
not
No,
yet.
they'll send one out.
They're going to send one out. It hadn't come out yet.
Yeah.
And
You'll
it'll
get
be,
the list of kids
it'll
and then
be
you
the
build it.
tryout list that'll be coming out once they get more kids who are getting added on. That'll come out here pretty soon. That'll come out later this week, probably. Right, John?
So what else on the draft? Important draft things. Big thing. Write this down. Yeah, piece of paper. Age.
Yes.
We forgot about that.
That's all rate based now.
Well, but they're
No,
different ages,
no,
though.
no,
They're
no,
still
no.
not the same
Age
age.
is important.
Yeah.
Generally, the oldest, fastest. I know, Coach, we're giving out all the secrets. Don't worry, you're still going to win another championship. These are, the old coaches up there are not wanting us to give all these secrets out. We're going to give them everything. We want it to be very equal.
Let me add one thing.
Yep.
You've got to say, would y'all say that the season says the draft is 75,
90.
something like that?
See, yeah, I've always said I think it's about 60 to 70, and he says 90. I don't know. I think the draft's very important, but then coaching takes over and fundamentals.
The point I want to make is,
Yep.
if you think that you think 10 hours on the draft, are we ready or not? You see 30 hours, somewhere along there, and I know that's crazy, but it's true. You have to have these kinds of hours to really know the draft. And quick, because a bad draft from harder is going to be an hour of a bad draft.
Age is very important.
Yep.
So make sure you look at how old the kids are.
And one thing too on the draft night, little Johnny's sitting at home won't know what team he's on. So, most of you, after the draft, you need to reach out to the parents. Everybody's draft is going to be on Sunday except for the bigs, and that's Monday night. So you should be able to have that phone call to the parents and already have your practice schedule lined up for that week and where you're going to be to send that to the parents. Because on the sheet that John sends out that has the tryout also has the parents' contact information. So that night, after the draft, contact the kids. It's very important because they're sitting at home waiting.
Yeah, very important after the draft. Make sure you get that out. You should already be working on a parent's letter. So the minute that the draft is over, you should already have prepared an introduction, who you are, who your team, like your assistant coaches are, kind of a plan, when do you plan to practice and things like that. You should be tightening all that stuff up. We'll give you an example, we'll pass around an example of parent letters, but it's that's actually the next thing. So now the draft is over. Really important to have parents' information, call the parents, practice the next day, right? I've had people walk out of here, they'll do the draft, they won't call the kids for 2 or 3 days, and they won't practice for 4. We've already had 4 practices. We've already put in our whole offense. We're scrimmaging, and you guys haven't even practiced. So you got to be prepared now. It's a lot of work that you have to do the next couple of weeks, but you need to get the letter ready for the parents. We do a parents meeting after the first practice, and we'll talk to the parents. Why don't you talk about that? What do you guys are the best. The Irish have been one of the best at getting the parents involved.
That's all coach trainer, but they're right. Have your letter done now, and then just plug the kids' names into it. Look, we just want the parents to know who we are. We want to set ground rules early, and you can do that in a couple different ways, but face-to-face is the best way you can do it. To have a meeting. Coach Trainer hosts one at his house after the first week of practice generally. You don't have to do that, but have a meeting and just tell them what you're going to do this year. Set the expectation very clearly. Lay out when your practices are going to be. Lay out that you want people there on time. Last I checked, none of these kids drive to practice. Their parents get them there, right? It's very important that they get to practice early. And that's for the kid. No kid likes walking into practice 10 minutes late. They're embarrassed. That's no way. Coaches are chewing them. That's no way to be. So set that expectation up very clearly. Set your expectation up that you're gonna put these kids in the best spot you see, and you can appreciate their opinions and they can share them, but you're the coach, right? And you're gonna do the best you think you can for that child. And it's one season. If they get stuck playing guard or tackle for one season, it's not gonna be the worst thing in the world for them. I always start with none of these kids are gonna play pro football. Right? We got a lot of great accountants, right? Some good. We're good. We're lucky we got some orthopedic surgeons out there.
Well, we may not be able to say that anymore.
We got a couple
we got a couple
can say it.
kids coming up that are probably playing the NFL.
But the objective is get these kids ready to play high school football and that experience, get some of them ready to play college football, but they want to learn life lessons, you want to make them better people. So you set that quickly.
And that brings me to the most important thing, why we coach, all right? The number one most important thing, and you have to get this across to the parents, it's safety. It's everything you do starts and ends with safety. You are responsible for these kids. We're going to go into a lot more on safety, but you have to communicate that to the parents. Safety, number one. Number two, we want the kids to have fun. My goal, Coach Trainer's goal, Pledger's goal, we want to see how many kids come back and play the next year. I think coaches should be graded on that thing and that alone. How many kids play the next year, and the reason that they do that because they feel like they're part of the team, then they're having fun. So safety, fun. Then we want to teach, and the third is fundamental football. You know, nothing crazy. You know, I've seen coaches make the biggest mistake where they come out and the first play they teach is like the triple reverse, or they're working with second, third graders and they're trying to run the triple option. We run a basic offense. Like I said, run off tackle, and we'll get more into this, but it's very important for the kids to have fun. And how do you do that? How do you have the kids have fun? You get everybody involved, you let the kids, you know, the biggest mistake that I see, how many of you have kids playing? Raise your hand. All right? Keep those hands up if your kid's a quarterback or a running back. Okay, there's a couple. Good. Here's what I will tell you. I was lucky. I had a center. I was very lucky. I had no controversy. Nobody ever said, why is my kid playing center? You know? If you're a dad coach and your kid is the quarterback or the running back, and he's the best player on the team, just be very careful that you spread the ball around. You get, you know, I like to have 6 or 7 kids touch the ball every game. You know, that may be a lot if it's a close game, but you don't want it to be coaches only coaching for his son. It's a big mistake. Mix it around, get other kids involved. What other mistakes have we seen with kids and dads coaching? We're all non-dad coaches now. Well, Cleet is a non-dad this year.
Yeah, this year.
Just with the kids, you know, you're going to have some kids are not going to do that. Let's just be honest. And you've got to build those kids. They need to hear encouragement. Right? So what I've always said, no matter what level of football you played, if it was college, pro, high school, what you were taught, forget it. We don't do it anymore. And so the whole game has changed, the way you're coaching kids, and especially the safety concern, taking the head out of the game, all the things that we all did growing up, playing King of the Hills, doing this crazy stuff. We're not doing it out here at this park. So the encouragement to especially kids, your late rounders, is how do you build them up? Because they're coming in there, they're scared, guys. They're scared to death. There's no doubt about it. Mama maybe or daddy pushed them out there to play. They're trying it. They're afraid of tackling. But you still have to work with those kids just like you did the #1 draft pick. And you have to give them encouragement, because even if it's, I even do this sometimes, even if he didn't do anything good, I make him feel like that. Because at the end of the day, he knows it. He's behind some of the other kids. So I think you got to encourage these kids.
And you dads, I would say the goal for you is if someone watched your practice or game, if they do not know who your child is, you've done a good job. That means you're not being too nice to them, but guess what we do sometimes too? You ride them like it's nobody's business. You would never ride another child like that. Do not ride your own son like that.
That's one of the most difficult things it's going to be for a dad coach. And he's absolutely right. You don't want to ride your kid because you get caught up in the moment. And it's a really bad decision to do that. The other thing, dealing with parents, John Woods is not here tonight, which I wish he was, but he tells the best story ever. This was 8-9 years ago. Was he playing you, Coach? He lost a game that he probably should have won, and he felt like he got smoked. I think he lost by 3 touchdowns. He goes home after the game. He had a couple drinks, and he starts texting stuff out. Okay, so and he tells it's such a funny story because it's like one of the stories that everybody talks about now. And he said something about the Buckhead Betties, and he sent it to the team. And he says, "You Buckhead Betties, you're too soft," and yeah. And it comes so much better from him. Do not send an email out after the game. Okay, wait till the next morning. Think about it. If you're really upset, I always say don't put anything in writing. It's just kind of a common thing that I stick by. Yeah. He's an attorney. I'm different. I don't like putting a lot in writing. Don't put a lot in writing out to parents, especially when you're upset. Pick up the phone, or better yet, talk to the parent face to face if there's an issue after the game. Not after the game, the next day or the next practice. So just be very careful on that.
Yeah, here's the other thing too. A lot of us have been doing this for a long time. We've become great friends. So I always say, guys, these coaches, you're going to be out there, you're competing against them. And we always have a tradition, like the Irish, we'll play each other. And it's been a long rivalry, but we're going to go have a beer afterwards, win, lose, or draw, and have fun. Because at the end of the day, it's just youth football. So some of these guys you're going to be coaching against can be some of your best friends down the road. Some of them, we played golf yesterday. There was 4 old coaches, and we've never coached together. We competed, but we've become best friends. And I see a lot of that, especially in the 2nd, 3rd grade. The last couple of years, we've gotten away from what we built here, but we want guys to go. There's $3. There's Wing Factory. After your game. You're playing that coach. Hey man, win, lose, draw. Let's go have a beer afterwards.
Guys, that's a very important thing. I've seen literally careers changed because of the way that people were coaching on the sidelines. I've seen people not get in country clubs. You want to get into Capital City, you want to get into Cherokee, you want to get in eventually, or get a promotion, or do business. Really think about who you are and what do you want to be seen as in the community, because it gets intense. I'm telling you, ask these guys. We're as competitive as anybody you'll ever see. And I will tell you, over my 11 years coaching, I think I've gotten better and better and better. I wish I wouldn't have made some of the mistakes I did early on. One thing is yelling, being too loud with kids. I think that's a big mistake. You want to try to really be very calm and really think about how you want to be perceived in the community. because, you know, they look up to you, the parents look up to you, the other coaches look at you. So really think about that. Well, you do a great job with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a yeller. I mean, I toss the visor.
He tosses his visor. Like, remember Spurrier?
But no, I mean, look, guys, it is competitive. You're going to get frustrated. I mean, there's no doubt. And because here's the reason why you're putting in a lot of time down. At the end of the day, you put a lot of time and effort for this draft, a lot of time and effort in practice, and you want to win. It's just look across the field, and like he's saying, you want to treat the other coaches with more respect. And, you want to be respected, respect the other coach. No matter what happens, guys, you want to not lose your cool. And that's the other thing, too. You're talking about with the parents. Do not text or email another coach without giving it 24 hours. Okay? Don't do it. Because you go home, have a drink, and it's after the game, and you're sending that to another coach. Just try to give it 24 hours.
Keep it all in perspective. Guys, we've had a couple of pro football players that have been out here assistant coached. They have the greatest perspective. You never see them yell. They lose. They kind of walk off. They're high-fiving the kids. You know why? Because they get it. It's Little League football.
Yeah.
They understand it's not a job. It's not life or death. They totally get it. I love watching those guys because it just reminds me. They get it. Sometimes we forget what it is. Try and keep it in perspective.
Because you're going to get wrapped up.
Yep.
All right, so moving along. Any questions so far?
Any questions on that?
The tryouts. Now we've gone through the parent meeting. Now it's your first day of practice. Hopefully it's the day after the draft. Yep. Well, here's what I say, depends on which player, right? We lost.
You know.
So I'm going to tell you two things. We lost our first player last year.
Yes.
First player we've ever lost. But we lost two players last year. We lost our number 3 pick because he wasn't making straight A's at Westminster. True story. Number 3 pick, starting linebacker, best receiver in the league, and we lost him because he wasn't making good grades. It was awful. We didn't think it was the right decision by the parents, but we were very professional about it. We talked to the parents. I had coached the son. The son's playing at, well, I don't want to tell you the son. It was a tough situation. We still ended up winning the championship. Our team came together even more. We worked harder. The coaches worked harder. And we picked a kid that wasn't a quarterback, and we made him a quarterback. We changed the offense. We changed things around, so we made it work. The other thing, that's when you lose a good player. You really want to try to do everything possible not to lose a bad player. You could change a kid's life. If he quits on you and it helps your team, it doesn't help him. So you may get a kid that wants to quit. The kid that quit last year, we talked to his parents 7 times before he quit. And we tried to build it up and try to get the kid to stay. You want to do everything you can not to lose players. All right, so now we're up to the first day of practice. What do we do at the first day of practice? Let's start with Clete.
Yeah, have a plan, just like everything. Have a plan, just like everything else. You got to be prepared for your first day of practice. Do not walk out there and just think you're going to wing the first day of practice. Write it down. These guys, even that they know it really, really well, they write it down. I write it down. Coach Trainer writes it down. He emails the other coaches, this is what we're going to do today. Is everybody aligned? Your first day, obviously, some introductions, right? Try to put the kids at ease. But then get into a routine with your practice. Kids love routine. They love it, right? They do really well with structure. So your practice ought to be the same every time. 10 minutes, if you're here 10 minutes early, we're going to throw passes on the sideline. Once practice starts, we got our helmets on, we're going to stretch. What's your stretch look like? Everybody's got a different one. Some circle up, some do a line. It doesn't really matter. Just have one, right? Do your stretches. Do some agility drills. Again, not really important what you do, but just some stuff to get them loose, some stuff to get their feet a little bit better. That they know, by the way, by the 4th, 5th week, you don't even have to be there. Or you can be over there talking to your other coaches about some game plan, and 2 of your better players will take people through it. And then boom, you're done, right? And then you have a routine at your practice. Whether you want to work on fundamental, I always work on fundamentals first, blocking and tackling. Every single day, blocking and tackling. Okay, a lot of people, oh, we're gonna just jump into offense. Great, your offense is gonna be this good if you can't block. Blocking and tackling every single day. That's what I do. And so I'll have different drills for it. I can tell you Charles does it. I can tell you Pete does it. Then you're gonna have offensive and defensive time. And then that's gonna just depend on, early in the season, it's gonna be more offensive time because it just takes you more time to learn offense. Later in the season, it can probably be split a little bit. But that first week of practice, pick out 4 or 5 fundamental drills you wanna do. Pick out a little team activity you wanna do. You young guys are gonna have to teach. They literally don't even know what the positions are called. So a great thing to do is to take a water break, get them all to take their helmets off while they take a water break, and just set the cones up and go. This is a center. When I talk about a center, that's the person. These are guards, these are tackles, these are tight ends, these are running backs. What makes a running back? He is behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, coach, what's the line of scrimmage? Hey, great question. This is the line of scrimmage. You're literally gonna have to do that in probably the 2nd or 3rd grade. Heck, we do that sometimes in 5th grade for some.
We do that all the way through the bigs.
Yeah.
And then we teach the holes.
Yes.
The 2-hole, the 4-hole,
Right.
the 6-hole, the 8-hole. Every practice, you know.
I mean, but you assume they know a lot more than they do. And what does it mean when I say get closer to the ball? Does it mean I get like this? No, it means from the sideline, I move closer to the ball. Right? So you're yelling at some D tackle, get closer to the ball. That kid's got to know what he's doing. Or I need you to move away from the ball. They know to move outside there. All those little things that come second nature to you because you've been involved in the sport for so long, you got to teach all these kids. Charles, I know you do similar stuff.
Yeah, every day it's the same routine. The kids, I say you're going to be bored to death because we're going to do these exact drills every single day. Even the week of the championship, if you're lucky enough to get it, we're doing the same drills. And we kind of do the same thing. We open up with, our kids get in a circle. In this stretch, and I let the kids run it. We teach them the first day, and then I kind of let the kids run that. And then we go straight into blocking and tackling. And those are basic fundamentals. And guys, it's not, and when it comes to this, don't take your #1 player and make him go against your last pick. Okay, kind of pair that up the first week, because we mentioned it earlier, some of these guys are afraid, they're scared. So try to pair it up, especially the first week in the beginning. Go with the size. Don't have your best kid go against your worst. Don't have your biggest kid go against your smallest kid. Okay?
Well, a couple things. I believe that it all starts with the stance.
Yep.
So every practice, that's what we start with. And we literally teach them how to get down in a 3-point stance. And all the coaches will put them in a line. This is a great way to start every practice. And we'll walk and we'll push them forward or pull them and see if they're balanced. You know, my thing is, when they come out that first game, I want people to say, wow, they are organized, and look at those stances. They run to the line of scrimmage, and they know it's Coach Secret's involved with that team, because they come out and you're like, wow.
There's nothing worse, guys, for you guys coaching in the 2nd, 3rd grade league to have somebody like myself and compete, walk through the park and have to stop you because your kids are squatting down, not in a good 3-point stance. I mean, it's the most embarrassing thing to walk through the park and see people and cannot get in a 3-point stance. Young kids. I mean,
so that's like the #1 thing. So we spend 5 or 10 minutes every single practice, even in the bigs, on the stance, getting balance, and then we start firing off the ball, and we'll work on the technique of coming off the ball, and then we'll work on going on 1. No snap, or going on 2. Now, I hardly ever go on 2. I just don't believe it's possible because you have more penalties trying to go on 2. So we don't, but we do it for discipline in practice. So the stance is very important.
Show a stance.
Yeah, you're better at that.
So stance, pretty simple. Feet shoulder width apart, right? You're gonna get them first just to sit down like this. Pretend there's a chair there. Just have them sit. Have them sit. Have them stand up. Have them sit again. The kids are gonna be like this. The kids, they love to bend at their waist, not bend at their knees, right? You'll hear, if you're around my practice, you hear that all the time. Quit bending at your waist, which means I'm getting low like that. Start bending at your knees, which means I'm getting low like this, right? You should be able to sit here and just sit here. Now, first day of practice, that's gonna really start to hurt sometimes. Good. It should. Your legs should hurt a little bit. So then we're down. We're going to take our right hand, generally, if they're right-handed, We're just going to take that hand and put it out in front of us. Okay? We don't want to be, like Pete said, all out here, so that if my hand moves, I fall down. We also don't want to be way back squatted down here.
So what the coaches do, we'll have 3 or 4 coaches. We literally have them come run up to the line of scrimmage. They don't even know what a line of scrimmage is.
Right.
So you got to teach them to run up, all of them in a line, your whole team. So 16 kids or 15 kids will run up to the line, and my coaches will walk around. When he gets to the stance, if he's leaning too much, he'll just pull him forward, a little tap, and he'll fall forward. If he's leaning back, he'll push him, and he'll fall back. So we're teaching them every single practice. Because that stance and running up the line of scrimmage is like, it sounds simple, you're sitting there, all you guys are probably thinking, geez, the stance, it's so important.
It's the first week.
I mean, if you let them do this, the whole first week, they'll do that the entire season. You'll never get them out of here. So you got to get them back. They sit. They can pick the hand up. They can put it back down, and the head's got to be up. Just walk by them. You flash fingers. If they can't see your fingers, then your stance is wrong.
So then the next thing we'll start with is blocking.
Yep.
And then we'll put guys in stances very close, and we'll have them spread up. Like Charles said, the best players with the best players, the big players, the little guys will be down here. So now I'll take, if it's 12 kids on a team, 6, and then 6 kids, they'll line up, and we'll just start having them fire off at each other blocking. And it's just the basic blocking drills, and they start pushing people out, and it's just getting them used to contact. The biggest mistake, I see, and where there's a lot of safety issues, is when you get them too far spread out on blocking or tackling drills. I believe all the way through bigs, we should have them all in close. Even at Marist, I believe they should be in close.
When we say close, so if I'm running the ball, we're talking this distance.
Yeah.
guys.
Yep. 3 to 5 yards. 3 to 5 yards.
You cannot, if you do this, we're not going to allow you to coach. Okay?
I mean, you
It's
just
actually
ask
in the rule books this year that we've changed the rules. We're not going to allow some of this crazy stuff because we see a lot of injuries. And John, what were the names of those drills? Not King. Oh, sharks and minnows. Does anybody know what sharks and minnows is? It's the worst drill. It's terrible. What they do, this is true. Coaches used to do this, and we don't allow it. They get 12 kids or 8 kids on that side and 8 kids on that side across the field, and they literally run at each other full speed. And they like one's a shark, and you take them down in full like.
Yep. The other one was duck, duck, goose.
yes.
So we're not allowed to do duck, duck, goose or sharks and minnows. It's just
Duck, duck, goose was in a
Duck, duck,
circle.
goose.
You literally tap them and then
You run around the circle, and you
kick
tap
us at
them.
full speed all the way across the circle. We don't allow that.
Oklahoma is fine if you're in close.
In close.
We don't like Oklahoma where you're laying on your back.
No.
I don't do that.
True story. My son never played football again because at Marist, 8th grade football, he's slow. He's on his back. A linebacker just gets up faster than him, and he's not even fully up, and gets hit right in the head. Second concussion, done with football. Now he plays golf. So he doesn't get hurt anymore, unless he gets hit by the ball. Guys, we don't need them flipped over. It just doesn't make sense. Always remember safety first. You're responsible. They're your kids. So blocking, what other blocking? Go ahead, John. Bull in the ring. Yeah. I've never
King of the Hill, my high school. I mean, King of the Hill was you had one guy and the whole team got to hit him. We don't do that.
So y'all know what bull in the ring is? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Circle them, and then you just
One guy's
call
in the
names.
middle,
and
he points.
He points.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. So the best things are in close.
And you're probably, some of you are sitting out there going, how can you teach these kids this, and how can they be aggressive and fundamentals? Guys, I'll just take from, I know Pete's team won the championship last year, Cleet and Coach Trainer won it last year, but I guarantee you, their defense, my defense, and Pete's defense were probably some of the top of the park.
Yeah.
And we don't hardly do that. I mean, when I say tackling, we're not doing a lot of it. I mean, those fundamentals is enough, guys. You don't have to. We've got limits too. It's 30 minutes of any type of contact. Okay, so abide by that. You don't have to do pounding tackling drills anymore. And we're, obviously, we have that camp this week, but write down the Seattle Seahawks tackling and booting. And it's a great teaching thing that we're teaching, taking the head out of the game. And that's a great way to tackle with the shoulder. So it's the Seattle Seahawks, and that'll help. Some of the drills.
When you're blocking, we're teaching kids to really fire out with their hands inside. You can work all kinds of drills without contact on getting the hands inside. You can have kids just sit down here with the kid right there and just practice like this, getting the hands inside. So different than when some of us played, right? We block like that. You can get those hands. Inside hands wins. That's what I tell my guys.
Stay right there.
Yeah.
One thing we also do, especially the first couple days, is the best way to work with tackling.
Yeah.
Is have the kids do that. We do this. We line them up. We have this guy right here, so he's coming in with his shoulder, taking his head out, and then they just roll to the ground. Just small little drills like this. We do it every day. Then when we stand them up, and they're at this distance, we're walking through it for the first time. We're walking through it, and we're teaching. Then we go half speed, and then full speed. Some kids, it takes 2 weeks to get it, right? And you have to walk through it. So when I tell you we've been doing this, we do this every single day. And one thing too, guys, and if you remember the old NFL films with big hits, remember how popular that was when we watched it in high school. I mean, it's nothing. It is when you hear that big hit, we all get excited. Okay, but guys, if it's helmet to helmet, anytime in your practice, a kid goes helmet to helmet, you have to ask everybody and stop them and say what they do wrong, and you have to say helmet to helmet. Okay, they cannot see you get all jacked up and excited because some kid does not know one into next week, and it's a great hit, but it's done wrong because he did helmet to helmet. They see you getting excited and do it, we're losing the battle.
Let me just go into another thing on coaching and getting the kids excited to have fun. We do a lot of things, and I call it King of the Hill. It's a different King of the Hill. We put 2 linemen right here, and we'll put our best 2 linemen, and maybe there's 16 kids, 8 of our best linemen, and then not so great linemen over here. What happens is we'll get coaches, and we'll spread them out. And that's another big thing we should talk about, how we spread out coaches. But they'll go down here and they play King of the Hill, and we put cones, and they have to push them out. So do we have
He's pushing that up.
all the way through.
This is one of my favorites.
This is my favorite drill. We do it every single practice. And what happens, if you're a winner, you come to the winner side. The loser side, are over here. And what the loser kids are trying to do is get over here to the winners, and they want to see who's king of the hill, who's the best blocker on the team. And we can do it, sometimes we do it 2 stations, sometimes we'll do it 3 stations, and we'll rotate the winners down. And all you do is get a kid right here, this close, and it's high, and you try to push them out of the out. And you want to push them through the cones. Just 15 minutes every day, 10 minutes every day. Teaching who wins? The lowest guy. The guy that can get low and stay low and keep his feet and push him through. So we teach stay low and do this. This is, I call it King of the Hill. You want to have fun? Kids love this. And then you get the kid every week he's getting a little bit better, and he's been in the loser, and now he's over here, and we'll circle around, and the whole team circles around for the championship. The last 2 kids are gonna, who's the winner? Who's King of the Hill? And the kids go crazy. So that's a really fun drill. What about anything else on, then we'll go, as the season progresses, we'll do 2 kids, but not for King of the Hill, but we'll just practice with 2. And then we'll go with 2 kids, and then 2 defensive players, and we'll have a running back, and we'll keep it real tight in here, and they'll try to run through the hole and tackle. What about tackling drills, angle drills?
Angle tackle.
Yep, angle. You want to show them how we do it?
Literally, kind of the same thing with the cones.
You do 1 cone and then 2
So I start off at 50%, so it's not full speed, and you just work on fundamentals. Pledge, do you start at 50%, like just wraps? Yeah, we do a lot of wrap, technical work, where they're not bringing them down.
So this is just a great way to do it. So this, here, boom.
So you tell them 50%, you don't bring them down. Then you go to 75%, and then we'll go to 100%, and they'll actually bring them to the ground.
It's really rare that you're going to have a collision works this, okay? Because it's really rare that you see straight on. So most tackling needs to be angle tackle. And then what happens too, especially the first week, guys, This is what it is, okay? By the end of the season, now you're giving this guy an opportunity to make a cut. You'll be able to run. Now that really simulates open field tackle. Okay? And at this point, this is what I'm talking about. If there's helmet to helmet, you've got, and let's say we have two groups of this going on, and there's helmet to helmet, you stop and you instruct them, it's helmet to helmet, you let the other kids, you ask them questions, what they do wrong, they'll tell you, helmet to helmet. Let them critique everything that's going on, okay? But literally we start, this is it right here, right? And this is basic, guys.
So once we do,
You want to stay, look, teach me to stay on the back shoulder, right? What do kids like to do? Oh, they here, Charles, go find me there. We teach them to stay on the back shoulder. The sideline is our friend, right? Charles is going all the way to the sideline on his back shoulder. And maybe he gets past the cone, that's fine. Just ride him out of bounds, right? So we stay on the back shoulder, we stay low, we come over here, we go down for that, my head is out. My head is out, I'm going to wrap and pull Charles down this way. But my head is not here. That's the biggie. My head is not there. It's not, I gotta go see Charles.
all right, so safety first. So now
Real quick, does anybody have any questions?
any questions on
Blocking
drills,
or
blocking, tackling drills? Get a book. Look,
Yeah.
like I said, I've bought 4 football books. Go online. This was $10. You got to read because it talks about drills and fundamentals. You got to, like, if you're going to do this, it's like you got to really know what you're doing a little bit.
There's two things, like I said, I brought up the Seattle Seahawks. Also, Rock Douglas has brought in some guys on Google Rugby Tackle. Those guys don't have helmets. They're leading with their shoulders. So the Seattle Seahawks is rugby style tackle. So they have some great drills that you can do. Drills they can practice with no gear on. So some great drills in that. It's about a 20-minute video. And then Google rugby style tackle.
By the way, there are no copyrights out here. There is no protected intellectual property. Steal at will. On drills. Oh my God, I mean, why is Pete so good? Because he didn't come out here and say, I know everything. I'm going to learn it. Yeah, he didn't just learn it from the book and the internet. You probably want to watch other people practice.
The other thing I did is I took guys to breakfast.
Yeah.
I said, hey, successful coaches. Took Pledger out and I said, hey, what do you do to be successful? Feel free to do that. Like call other people, other coaches.
Kirby Smart, probably said it best. Football is a copycat league. Okay? So what works? Use it.
Yeah. Go watch somebody else's practice. Go watch. You can come watch any of our practices. Come stand for 15 minutes. Ask us questions about what we're doing. We're going to help you. But you don't have to do it all on your own.
So drills now, then we go into offense. So I will take the backs, and then I have a line coach, Alan Roos, who's famous at the park. You'll get to meet him. He'll take the line, and the backs. So I'll take 4 or 5 or 6 backs, and we'll rep plays with just like going through all the plays. And in the bigs, we may have 25, 30 plays. When I was coaching peewees and littles, it may have been 6 to 8 to 10 plays, and as the season went on, you don't need in the small guys, you need 8 to 10, 12 good plays. And then you get a little bit older, you might want to throw in some extra stuff. So we'll do the backs over here and the linemen over here. The linemen are working on firing off the ball, working on getting in stances, and then we'll bring the whole thing together, and we'll have the whole team, and we'll rep plays with the team. Then, as the season goes on, 3 or 4 weeks, some guys like to scrimmage later. You're later, I'm earlier, because I like to see what kids can do what in a live situation. We'll scrimmage another team for the last 15 or 30 minutes. We're different on this because I believe I like to see them early and start moving kids around and see who can play where. Pledge is very successful. He waits. How long do you wait?
Wednesday the second week.
Okay, so you're not that quick. You're second week of scrimmage.
At the end of it.
Yeah. Hey, what do y'all?
We're a little bit later.
Yeah.
We rep it for a while.
Yeah. So now, a couple things on scrimmages. We've learned this, and there's guys in the room that actually scrimmage. Most important thing with a scrimmage is what? Safety. Oh, I like the answer, safety. I like that. So what's the most important thing with safety when you're scrimmaging? We all learned, we have 4 guys in this room that learned it the hard way.
Quick whistle.
Whistle.
Boom. You better have a damn whistle. Because stop is not going to work. You better have a whistle. We had 4 experienced coaches, including myself, that didn't have whistles one day, and we almost got a #1 pick out for the season. Thank gosh he was okay. So you're going to get into it. It's early in the season. It's exciting, and they're hitting, they're scrimmaging. Quick whistle. Protect the kids. Don't let kids come in late hits. That's unacceptable, and teach them that in the scrimmage. So that's the whole kind of like start of the year.
One thing on scrimmages too, you can get wrapped up being competitive. You're not trying to win the scrimmage, guys. That's why you play the games, you win the games. The scrimmages, you're trying to teach fundamentals. So if you're having a bad scrimmage, don't worry about it. Okay, correct it. I do this every time. Our first scrimmage, I do not change. If they defense, if we scrimmage Pete, he comes out in a single wing, unbalanced, my kids will not shift correctly. And what I do, I let them get beat. I just let them get pounded. The next day, I come back out, I line it up, I say, you know why you got beat? And we said, this is what you're supposed to do. So you don't try to go win a scrimmage, you're trying to
So
see what the
hopefully
kids react.
every one of you has 3 or 4 coaches. That's another thing we haven't talked about. You need at least 4 coaches. That's the number. So what happens in a scrimmage, we will say, I've got the backs, Jimmy's got the 2 linemen, he's got the ends, and we literally, each coach focuses on 3 kids, and they go and coach during the scrimmage. So we'll stop the scrimmage, they will coach those 3 players, they're getting out of, not doing the right things. Same thing on defense. So when we flip it and go to defense, 3 guys, I may have the defensive ends, and I'm watching their stance and watching what they're doing. Another coach will have the linebacker, somebody will have the defense back. So you guys get the same.
And I would try to do this, I know it's going to be tough for somebody, because you're coaching your son. Is maybe have another coach watch your son.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then you watch somebody. Because you're going to be focused. Most people focus on
That actually should be, you should absolutely, 100%, and I remember now, even though my kid was a center, somebody else coached him. I just didn't, we switched. And I had another dad that had a kid, and I took his kid. That's a great point.
And don't be the guy, as Charles said, who tries to win the scrimmage. So you're coming out to scrimmage, the first scrimmage, don't blitz 2 linebackers up in the middle every play. Don't be that guy, because you will quickly be called that guy. And I've been calling you that guy. You have a different name, you'll be a tape. Okay? Don't be him. Don't be him. Don't try and win. They're struggling with the snap. You know what? Take your nose guard, pull them aside and say, hey, slant the other way. Let them get the snap off. Doesn't do anybody any good, right?
So
Work for both teams.
Hey guys,
passing these around.
if I scrimmage a team and I see something, yes, I know the other team. I see a kid not doing something right, we're all trying to help everything. The kids all
Just a practice plan.
Oh, practice.
Yeah. So every practice, we talked about this earlier, you should have a written down practice plan. You can start working on those now. 5 minutes of stretching or whatever you want to do. Then go to the stances, blocking, then tackling. So have it written down, and I'm passing those around, some drills and things like that. You can look at those. And if anybody has an interest, we can email you stuff too.
You want to have some cones for practice. We don't get practice on a full field. You're going to be practicing on a quarter of a field. Cones are very helpful in setting stuff up. So the round ones that are flat are the best.
round flat.
Right? They use it for soccer a lot.
Don't get anything like
Yeah,
this.
this kids trip over that all the time.
That can stick in the stuff.
50% of your practice should be blocking and tackling. And that's, the fundamentals.
You get some dummies too. You can do a lot of great work with dummies.
All right, so
we
we
have some dummies and some cones. For
fifth of the draft, we're now it's game time. So preseason's over and it's game night, right? So what are some tips getting ready for the first game? Any questions on the game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, because in the second, third grade league, the coach is on the field, and I think to make it simple is having a diagram we can show them. In our league, the 5th grade and the bigs, you're on the sideline and it's tough. new coaches to be able to see things across the field. And Pete does the same thing, we rep a lot of offense, so I'm not showing it. We're lining the kids up and repping and repping.
But you're using words for your plays?
Yeah, I have. Here's a prime example, 2 formations. And it's always named after a coach because we said this is a what? Copycat league. So Pete was the Gators. So I have Gator right. And the kids know Gator right, we're lining up in this formation. So what we're doing, and I have Irish, after the Irish coach. So I have Irish right, Irish left. So what we do, and in the practice, those 3-4 weeks you're practicing, and every day, I would go like this. The kids would get in the huddle, and I'd say, Gator right. They have to line up correctly. And then I say Irish right, and they have to adjust. And same, they need to recognize it. You just have to rep.
You bring your quarterback over to the sideline and call plays?
So, yeah, I have in our league, we can walk out to about the hash, and I tell the quarterback to play. And a lot of teams use armbands.
Yeah, we've used the armband.
Pete uses armbands.
Yep.
Some people single them in. You can come up with that.
Yeah.
I like the armbands because you can put a little note on there for them.
Yeah,
Sometimes
listen,
they call them
I'm a
play.
big believer that armbands are the easiest thing. You have it on the quarterback and the tailback, they look at it, and I read out, I'll say Black 1 or, whatever, Pittsburgh 2, and they look at it, and it's play 2, and then they're in the huddle and they call it. It's that easy. It's simple.
And for the first time this year, I don't know if there's any, it's not really big, so we'll have to play something else.
That'll be good, yeah, not big.
Pete, like we do, uses numbers. So the backs get a number, and the holes get a number. So the first number of a play is the back, 1, 2, 3, or 4. The next number is the hole. Okay, so that's how we do it.
Same thing, Gator right, 34, the 3 back, 4 hole.
So
So
make
they
it,
just know the formation Gator.
try to make it
3
as
back knows he's
simple
getting the
as
ball.
possible. We've had problems before, like I said, when you go out there and the coach is trying to throw 50 passes in a game. And they lose all 8 games, the parents are calling, the kids are upset, 6 kids on the team don't want to come back next year and play. You can't, this isn't a passing league. You may pass 3 or 4 times a game, maybe twice a game. You don't want to do all these tricky reverses. You want to teach running off tackle. You want to, you want to have a counter. You want to have some sweeps. You want to have a tight end where the quarterback rolls out and throws the tight end. Just basic stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, I think you just got to make it basic, simple stuff. That's a great way of doing it in that league. Our league is, I'm sure, what do y'all call Irish?
Power right time.
Power right. Yeah, power right.
That's the only formation we're allowed to run. So power right time. It's Coach James' favorite formation. That's all we run. Then we run power right tight, you go to the left.
You don't want to get, look guys, let's talk about cadence a little bit. Because
I go on
it's just like down, set, hunt.
Yeah.
Okay? That's as basic as you can get. We're not in college. It's blue 42.
I like a ready. That means everybody gets down in their stances.
Omaha.
Pleasure loves mine. I have the kids go, ready, 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 and that gives the lineman a chance to get down. And then it's down, set, putt. So my quarterback's ready, 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 and then they all get down, and then down, set, putt. It's simple. So whatever you like.
Yeah, just what works for you. Anybody have any questions on that?
Let's talk a little bit about what to run. Let me just throw it out to you. What do you plan on running? Offense.
We're going to just do that snap.
Direct snap.
Yeah.
I love direct snap. Why do I love direct snap? Because it's easy. You can get a lot of kids to football. It's not, one quarterback has to learn. Every kid can get a direct snap. I literally, when we're winning, I'll pull the 15th round pick and he'll get a direct snap and he'll run the football. Every kid on the team knows it. A lot of people make a lot of mistakes trying to go under center, and I'm not saying, some people like it. It makes football really easy for 2nd through 5th grade. They're going to have plenty of time to do direct snap under center the rest of their life. So I'm a big believer in direct snap. We run 2 basic formations, single wing, off tackle, and we'll run what I call the rocket series, which is everybody's using it now. It's a lot of fun. You have a kid that comes in motion, the quarterback gets the direct snap, he hands it off, either he hands it off to the kid and he'll do a sweep, or he'll run the ball either side, or he'll fake it and he'll throw. So it's just the Rocket series, which is a lot of fun. That's basically what I do.
Yeah, and some coaches
What
have
do you
had
run?
success out here in the I formation.
Yeah.
And so
We were under center last year.
I formation, was successful. I'm direct snap too.
Yep.
It's just, I just like Pete said, there's only, at the end of the day, guys, you're only running in about 3 locations.
Yeah.
4 hole, 6 hole, and the 8 hole. One time, same hole. You only have 3 spots.
Yeah, so I like to do that too, but when you guys agree to run red snap shotgun, how many centers do you have practice?
You need 2. You need 2. I guarantee you one's going down, or his mouthpiece is going to get lost, or his shoulder pad clip is coming out. You have to have a second center. I don't care which one you do. You need a second center.
So let me say this, because like I said, my son was...
I'll say this real quick, because I see some hurricanes here. So they were struggling with their center, so I went over and worked with them. Hey, if you're struggling getting with your center, get with an older coach. We can come help. It takes literally, the center to me is easy to fit.
I had one of my best football stories, and why I keep coming back to coach, stories like this. We had a kid last year who wanted to quit. He was our I think it was our 13th pick. We made him the center, and he was struggling. He could not do it. And we would scrimmage, and he was rolling, fumbling, and then in the first game, we almost lost the first game because he made a couple bad snaps. I talked to his mom, I talked to his dad, I talked to the kid. He's the most important player on the team, and everybody knows that. Because if you don't get the snap off, you will never win a football game. So this is the most important kid. We kept building him up, building him up. By the end of the season, this kid, he was perfect snapping. He was so excited to play in the championship game. What made it work? The father-son relationship. I said, you got to practice on, at home. Because he would do 50 snaps before practice, and over the weekends, he would practice with his dad. And his mom even went out and practiced with him. So that's what you got to do with your center, and it was a great story.
Yeah, the first week I said, center for the most important position.
Yep.
We got to find them.
And then the linemen are the second most important.
And it's literally...
We talk about that all season.
But your center is not your first 4 picks. No. It's one of
Right.
the later picks, but he has to be one of the most special guys. And you practice, like after every game, we give a hand for the center.
Yep. That's exactly what we do. When he's perfect after every game, it was a perfect game snapping. And everybody would jump on him, just pat him on the helmet.
Some of you coaches in second grade this year, in second grade, centers, is this something they know how to do, or are you teaching them to throw it like
No.
Two hands.
Get it back there nice and easy. Try and get your hands up 3/4. Not all the way up, it's going to go over somebody's head. So just about 3/4 up. Lobbing it back there. And by the way, you don't need to be back 7 yards.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great
3.5
point.
yards.
So I'm a 3.5,
Yeah.
3-yard guy.
Yeah.
So that's where people get in trouble when they're back 5, 6, 7 yards.
Yes.
It's literally 3 yards.
Nice and easy.
Is it something they pick up pretty easy though?
No.
No.
You might, if you're lucky, you'll find somebody who does. You ought to have them all try out.
Yeah.
Just like they try out to kick off, and everybody tries out the center.
So what other offenses are you guys running? What are you guys running?
We'll run spread with motion.
Yep. So like the Rocket. What?
We'll run single wing, we'll run spread, we'll run.
Okay. Rob, what are y'all running?
Mostly Wildcat, or
So Wildcat, same thing as the Rocket series. It's the same thing. What do you run, Lee?
Single wing.
Single wing only?
We run
Oh, you're
single
one-dimensional,
wing, we run
huh?
power right side 16,
Do you run off tackle at all?
He runs power right side. He runs
What
Irish.
percentage do you run off tackle?
95.
What do you run? How much percentage, Rob, off tackle? And if Rob's won a championship, Coach Trainer's won a championship, Lee's won a championship.
I like that big tight end.
So what about you? How much you run off tackle, Coach Trainer? 80%?
If it was Coach Trainer, we would only run off tackle. Despite 11 people standing right there, we would still run. We would go right there.
So what are the new guys running? What are you guys running? You know?
Anybody know? No?
You don't know yet? Okay.
He's pairing up.
You know? You know?
You know, to be fair, coaches, I mean, a lot depends on your draft, your personnel.
Well, you got to draft before you're going to run, though.
You got to draft for
So
your
you got to
offense.
try and grasp what the offense is going to be,
Right.
but you have to make some adjustments. One more thing, guys, the first day you get out there, this is 100% certain. You're going to look around and you're going to say, my God, what the hell?
And he comes into practice. And by the way, he works with me. He comes in, his head's like this.
He's like, I didn't think these were the kids.
He's like, we won't win a
He's drafted the
game.
wrong
He's like,
kid.
they call him Bobby Bowden at work. It's unbelievable.
But he does make a point. I mean, the first
Yeah.
week is I just do it.
Question.
Just about the draft. Do you draft more for your offense or your defense?
So me, I will take the 5 best defensive players. I'm all defense.
Well, let's say this though. If you have 15 players, you have 7 playing both ways.
Yeah.
Your first 7 picks better be offense and defense.
So it goes back to the old
It's
saying.
easier to teach defense.
By the way, defense wins championships.
It does.
I mean, I've heard that, all right? And I believe that. So,
What about, you watch film with your team?
With the team. Well, so the question, you better watch film. You're going to watch a lot of film, whether you watch it with the kids or not.
No, with technology, the games are filmed, but they're individual plays. So if you watch film and little Johnny had 3 bad plays, and you want to show little Johnny, you can do it at practice. Or your phone, you can bring an iPad out there. It's so simple.
We
now.
send them.
You can forward the email to the parents
Yep.
and say, hey, would you mind showing little Johnny this play? And then also, the Irish in every flip model season to their defensive guys.
Sure we do.
It's
what it's
you can
gonna look like.
You can
It's what it's gonna look
like. Here's the just the offense and all runs.
what else? What other questions on offense, defense? Oh, what about defense?
But let's go back real quick.
Yeah.
But if you go and meet at somebody's house and watch film, it's considered a practice.
It is, it's a practice.
So in the old days, people got busted. There's no reason to do that. You're out here enough. With the technology, you don't have to do that.
But a lot of guys, people do bring an iPad out, 15 minutes at the end of practice when we're wrapped up. Some people bring TVs out here, which is a little
Hey,
overkill.
yeah, here's another thing, guys. It goes back to doing the right thing as a coach. Don't give the excuse, I didn't know the rules. You better read the rules. You better know how many practices you can have. Because it goes back, the parents are going to see that. They're going to know if you're cheating and taking more practices. Your parents will know. And it's a terrible example. So do the right thing and read the rules. Make sure you don't cheat on the practices.
Yeah, and one thing you see a lot of, your offense is your kickoff return team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your defense is your kickoff team. You cannot put your best players out there. So your kickoff team is going to be your defense. You're not getting little Johnny that's a little bit better player to hide.
So that goes back to knowing the rules, right? How much does each kid have to play? You better know those rules. Don't get the other coach saying you cheated and everybody's all mad and parents are mad, and then you say, I didn't know the rules. And here's how they're going to catch you cheating. It's video. Everything's video.
Yeah, I've
So-
watched some of the 4th grade from last year. I know 4 or 5 teams that clearly broke the rules and just beat them. I'm shocked.
Yep. It happens every year. Somebody will try to cheat the system.
Yes,
And they
and
get
you get
caught.
called
It
for
goes
false.
back to the professionalism. You want to be that guy at work, everybody knows in town, you're the cheater. You want to be that guy.
Yeah, because we had it happen to a team that didn't need years ago, a team on a critical, always critical 3rd, 4th down.
Yeah, we're pulling kid out.
Pull a kid out. The kid
This
would run off the
kid
field.
would go out of the game, and all of a sudden their better player was in there.
You see a videotape,
And
and
you're
you're
like, why are you doing this? You're winning anyway, and they got busted. And it's a warning and then a forfeit.
And one last thing on offense. The most important play out here on offense is the extra point.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many 7-6 games you have, or 13, 12 games you have. You must come up with 3 or 4 plays that you can get 2.5 yards on. Drill them. Work on them. It is vitally vital. It is not the time to take your 15th best player and put him in the backfield for a direct snap. Get your extra point. It's like another score. Right? Some people win championships on them. People lose championships on them. Get your extra point play. Thank you.
Defense. What kind of defense you gonna run? 4-4.
You can run a 4-4. Depends what it looks like.
What
Charles
grade?
runs a 4-4.
What grade? Oh, you're in the bigs?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm giving all the secrets. I didn't know we had a bigs guy here. 4-4 may work. My belief is the 6-2. You know, because what have we been talking about? What does everybody run? You just heard it. They run off tackle. How are you going to stop off tackle? 6-2. You're not going to stop with 4-4. I'll run right down your. It'll be 4 yards. Boom. You won't even know what happened. We're scoring. So I like the 6-2. I like a 5-3. You tried a 4-4. You basically run a 6-2. So that's what you run.
But he's bringing a 4-4 guys.
But his 4-4 looks more like a 6-2.
It's different, but the two defenses really is the 50 or the 60.
The thing about defense, do not give up a 60-yard touchdown. Do you know how hard it is for a group of fourth graders to go 60 yards in 10 plays? It is exceptionally difficult. Make them do that. Whatever defense you're in.
Lee, what do y'all run? What do y'all run? 6-3. What do y'all run, Rob? 5-3, Coach? 5-3. So there you go, guys. What defense you run? 6-2, 6-3, 5. You know, maybe a 4-4 in bigs. Nothing too fancy there, right? What else on D?
You gotta have a really good safety if you tackle. Do not hide a kid. I just don't believe you should hide a kid at safety.
That's a good point. Where do you put your worst two players? Where?
Weak guard.
Nose guard's decent place.
Weak side guard.
Usually the weak on the offense, the weak lineman. You know, 1 or 2 linemen can be your worst players. Maybe your defensive tackles in a 6-3. Maybe in a nose guard. That's about where you can hide them. Maybe corner, but just don't let anybody know he's your weak player.
So do you just stick with one defense, or do y'all have multiple sets?
I have multiple sets.
Yeah.
We teach all 3 defenses. Yeah.
We stick with one, and then we vary that one. So we'll shade over to a side, and we'll blitz to a side, or something like that.
Safety down.
Yeah.
Okay.
First and 10.
Corner will come walking up or something. But ours is the basic one. You stick with this.
All right, so that's defense. That's it. I mean, that's a lot. John, what are we missing? Oh, everything.
Bigs, you punt, right? Don't you
Punt, yeah, there's one big guy.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And
Yeah.
The officials, they're gonna make mistakes.
They're not great here.
I mean, don't.
I mean, you just got to know that.
You got to know it going in, so don't get worked up. If
Yeah.
there's a bad call,
You just can't get worked up
you
on
can't
the
get worked
officials.
up on the guys. I've seen
They're going to
it.
go both ways.
Yeah, I
We've
mean,
seen
a couple of years ago,
craziest-
we're in a semifinal game. Player breaks out, and he literally steps up far out of bounds, and the ref's trying to adjust. He misses it, and he sees my head go down, and when he comes back, he goes, "Did I miss that?" And I said, "Yep." And I said, "Don't worry about it, because you can't do anything about it anyway."
Yeah.
And instead of me, "You missed that," I just literally put my head down, and he came back and he goes, "Did I miss it?" And I said, "Yeah, don't worry about it."
The speech to the kids is the referees have never lost a game. They have never caused a game. There are 5 plays. Well, that's the speech to the kids. There are 5 plays in every game you can change the outcome of the game. You could change. They could change. Not the refs.
And the more you bicker with the refs, the more you're going to get bad calls.
Yes.
Out here. So
They know who you are.
if you want to get bad calls, you want the officials to hate you and hate your team,
Yes.
just bicker at them.
Yep.
Just be in their ear and just, you won't get any calls. Yep.
I've been coaching for a long time. Just get to know the guy.
Yeah.
So one thing we just
Make
talked about
mistakes.
that we forgot about, safety. I mean, the number one thing on safety, what do we not talk about?
Concussions.
No? Bingo.
Water, hydration.
That is so important. Water breaks.
Yep.
How often do we take them? I believe every 15 minutes. What are you guys?
Yeah.
15 minutes.
And the kids should know that if they don't feel good within that 15 minutes, they can come up to you and ask for
Guys, it's so important. Do not work them 45 minutes to an hour and they're just exhausted. You got to give them water breaks. What else on safety?
I always have a first aid kit with me, Band-Aid, some gauze if you got to wipe anything away.
Bunch of mouthpieces.
Oh yeah, you got to have extra mouthpieces. Go buy them right now.
Because yep.
Tell the kid when you get
Extra
one,
straps.
you one back. But yeah, it's an easy first aid kit to have. If you're in doubt with an injury, we are blessed at the park. We have a ton of doctors around here. Be safe, right? Charles has had some horrific breaks on injuries with bad breaks and stuff. Deal with it the best you can, right? Try to keep everybody calm if it happens. Get some help. If the kid has, if he has concussion symptoms, when in doubt, you pull them out. Don't play around with that.
Yep.
If there's any doubt you have that a kid fell and dinged, a lot of times it's not even a hit. They fall and they hit the back of their head on the field.
2 years ago, my running back getting ready to play Pete in the semifinals, couldn't play in the game. It wasn't from a direct hit. It literally spun around his head, hit the ground, and he couldn't play. We held him out.
If you see that,
No way, there's no reason to play a kid.
If we do have a kid that's got those symptoms,
Yeah.
obviously we notify the parent, but
Yeah.
we notify the league as well.
Yep.
you should talk to your commissioner.
Just say, hey, look, this happened. Like I did, I sent John or John Baker, John Monroe in our league, and just say, hey, we had, like last year, first day of contact. You know, a great, I thought was going to be a good lineman, broke his collarbone the first day. You're like, here we go again. So, but, you know, so you reach out, I just send them emails, hey, by the way, this kid broke his collarbone. Now, the kid made it back into the playoffs. So I emailed them and said, guys, this kid he hadn't been on the football field since August. And now we're around getting close to Thanksgiving. And I said, we're going to slowly work him in. I called the old coach and said, this kid hasn't played. He's not going to do the 50% minimum rule the first, because there's no way he can play. He hadn't practiced. And so just email your commissioner if you do have any.
John, before I wrap up, anything else that you think we're missing?
Yeah, just on the safety, have a little plan with guys on the staff.
Yeah.
Just chat with their commissioner, player was down, had it on ambulance.
Yeah.
You know, just send somebody over to get on to meet that ambulance.
Look, if it's a bad injury, get them in the car. The ambulance is fine. I'd get them in the car and out of here.
But what John's saying is during practice, right, you want to run practice, you need one of your other coaches or a parent to take that kid, sit him down, talk to him while you're over there running practice. Do not, for the love of God, just leave them sitting over there by themselves because you're over there running practice, right? Somebody's got to be with that kid. And that's one final thing about practice. Get them all involved in practice. You got 14 or 15 on your team. Do not leave 3 kids sitting just by themselves, not doing anything. They can always do some work. They can, if you're running offense and they're defensive only players, they can either be practicing against you or they can be doing drills to make them better.
I can't believe I forgot this. This is my biggest pet peeve in coaching. I'll watch a team and they'll have 15 kids, they'll have 8 kids in line, and there'll be, 8 kids in this line, 8 kids in that line, and one drill going on. And that's the practice. So the kid doesn't get any reps. We believe, that's why I have everything written down, and I'll actually have the stations. I learned this in baseball. We have stations. So one coach here, one coach here, one coach, you spread them out, 4 coaches, and they'll rotate through stations so you can have one-on-one coaching. You want the kids getting as much out of practice as possible. If they're standing in lines, it's awful. Awful. And then we're going to wrap up.
Just 2 points, especially the guys in the 2nd and 3rd grade. Part of your practice is maybe the first day. You're not going to have contact the first day. These guys learn how to put helmets on. And the other thing, like I stopped by, played against sports, little parts like where especially the part up here where the chin strap, that's little screws and things bust off all the time. Have that in a bag in your, with your medical kit.
Yep.
I have screws and all that stuff, screwdrivers, and that way we need to fix something, we can fix it right on the spot.
That new Riddell Speed is very special. pop on and off the chin strap. You can press them, but you can't pick those up. I learned the hard way. You got to order those online. So go order those things. Order an extra kit of those. It's like $20, but you want those parts because they can fall off too.
It's a lot, isn't it, guys? Holy cow. It is the most rewarding thing you'll do. When I first got here 11 or 12 years ago, I ran into Keith Dice who said, coaching football is the most fun you'll ever have. Now you go back 11 years of me coaching, my best friends are NYO. The kids will come up to you the rest of your life if you do it right. It's very, very rewarding. It's very important. How many of you, raise your hand if you got an email about doing the camp? So if you didn't raise your hand, make sure you email me. It's pete.secret@jpmorgan.com. We need coaches to run the camp. The only way the camp is run, where we can do it, where the kids have a lot of fun, they get a lot of reps, just like what I've been talking about, we want them individual coaching. I need all the coaches to show up to the camp. So that's this Wednesday and Thursday. And why do you want to be at the camp?
See the kids.
See the kids. 2 years ago, John and I talked about how to make the camp better. We're going to try to get their names so that all the coaches can see. We're going to work on that. We're going to put tapes so you can know who the kid is. You're going to be with the third grade. If you're a third grade coach, you're going to be with only third graders. Before, the camp used to be all, would be all the kids all mingled in together. You're going to be able to run stations so you can see the kids. I need everybody to email me back and let me know what days, both days you're going to be there, and then I'm going to assign you a drill to help with this camp. That's the only way it works. So I'm going to wrap up with this. Everybody in the state of Georgia brags about one thing about NYO football. We have the best coaches, and that's because of John Baker. John has done a phenomenal job, and the coaches have been here like Coach Trainer and Pledger that have been here for years. 15 years now? 12 years. It feels like 15. But this is very important. We take it very serious. We want great coaches. We get all kinds of compliments. We had Milton here last year, and we did some scrimmages with them, and they just thought that the coaches were just so much better than everybody else in the state of Georgia. And it's right here because of you guys. So we thank y'all for taking the time, and use us if there's anything you need help with. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, guys.